Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Life in General. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
And as always, you can email us any questions or comments to contact@lifeingeneralpodcast.com. Oh, check us out on Facebook. Ian, what's our Twitter handle? You can't see it on the screen this time. I don't have it up.
I didn't see it on the screen last time.
No?
I think you overestimated my vision.
Yeah?
At LIG Pod.
Good job, Ian.
Yay!
49 episodes.
I got it on the 48th. I couldn't see your screen.
No. You didn't get the Twitter handle. You got the email, the website.
Both. Go back and listen. I got
Did
both.
you?
Yep. Because remember I said
What do you mean go back and listen?
Yeah, go back and listen. There's evidence for it.
Oh, whatever.
It's recorded.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, check us out on Facebook and Twitter and all that. Check us out on our website, which is lifeingeneralpodcast.com.
Indeed. I knew that.
Yeah, you did know that, didn't you? So we've got all of our previous episodes on there. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that bullshit. Pretty much anywhere you can pick up podcasts, you can find our show.
And there's the dog.
There's a dog barking. So today we're joined by my wife, Mandy. Mandy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello.
She's a little
talking
mic,
to
she's
the
a little mic
microphone.
shy. It's okay.
So we're gonna be talking horror movies today.
Yeah.
With
the dog's barking, I guess we should mention Cujo at some point or another. So it's at least topical.
But before we get into it, I didn't want to get your opinion, Ian, on something that I saw in the news last night that really kind of irritated me.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure you probably.
So it was just a normal news day then, I would.
Oh no! This was something that I was really kind of surprised about, and I'm sure you'll probably have a take on it.
Sure.
So there's a lady. Her name was Rachel Peterson. I don't know if you've seen the story or not.
I have not.
She's from Ionia. Earlier this year, her and her husband decided to have a kid, so she got pregnant.
I think I do know the story. Go.
Do you?
Yeah.
So in June, I guess she went to the ER because she was having complications.
Yep. And
found out that she had been 9 weeks pregnant with twins, but one of the twins had died. She had miscarried one of them, to be exact. Right. So the doctor told her at the time that the other fetus was not viable, and basically gave her. He said the other fetus wasn't viable, and she would never be able. More than likely, she'd never be able to have kids. Mm-hmm. So the doctor gave her one of three options. One, to either just let nature take its course. Mm-hmm. The other one would be to have the fetus surgically removed, and the third option would be to prescribe her medication to kind of help Mother Nature along.
Right. The miscarriage medication.
Yeah.
I did read the article. Yeah.
Oh, so you do know about
I do.
that.
I just didn't. The name didn't ring a bell.
Gotcha. So for anyone that doesn't know the story, so her and her husband decided to mourn. You know, they took a long weekend up north in Petoskey, and she went to the Meijer up there, and the pharmacist refused on religious grounds.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, you probably already know where I stand on that.
So the pharmacist, according to her, the pharmacist told her that he was a good Christian male and that he couldn't, in good conscience, give her medication because it's used for abortions.
Yeah, then he shouldn't be a fucking pharmacist.
And that's kind of where I stand on it too. It's like how is that his decision?
It's not.
It's not.
It is
but
not.
But apparently in the state of Michigan, it is.
That's because you got a bunch of religious zealots in power right now.
But so there's no law in the state of Michigan that says that a pharmacist has to prescribe you the medication.
Then why are they fucking there?
So Meijer's, and that's kind of how I feel the same way about it. So apparently Meijer came out and with the response, they said they recognize that the right of the pharmacist to abstain from filling a prescription based on his or her religious beliefs, but if the pharmacist is required to have the pharmacist is required to have another Meijer pharmacist fill the prescription, or if no other pharmacist is available, to transfer it somewhere else. So she asked the pharmacist to transfer it somewhere else, and he refused that. He refused that also. So she called her Meijer back in Ionia, and the pharmacist there said that he'd take care of it for her.
Right.
I guess he ended up getting the prescription from the Petoskey pharmacist, but he said he had troubles getting that also. But he told her, look, I'll take care of this, even if I have to call your OB. and get this filled another
In a
way.
different way,
We're going to get this taken care of.
Right.
But it's kind of bullshit that she has to go through all that.
Yeah.
Because it's his job
to give her medication.
To give her medication.
That her doctor has prescribed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you know how I feel about this because this is not an isolated incident.
No, and that's the other thing.
Hospitals refusing treatments for people because they don't. It's women who are sick, legitimately sick, but because of that idea of abortion and that religious zeal that they have, refusing service, refusing medical treatment. That's the thing. This happens all over the fucking country.
And that's I didn't realize that is medication denial is a very common thing.
Huge, yeah.
But it's a lot of times people don't speak up about it,
right?
And that's why you never hear a whole lot about it.
Well, this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. Well, I'm telling you.
That's the other thing.
Warning people that regardless of what the vast majority of Christians want and feel, the bad ones are in power, and they're trying to create a theocracy where things like that, specifically when it comes to how women interact with the world, giving women their freedom over their own bodies, and their own choices, and in their own medical care, it's all going to go away.
But hey, it's
all in the name of God.
We have an election coming up. Well, see, God has nothing to do with it.
No, it's His book.
Yeah, but nowhere it says that nowhere in the Bible.
I know.
And that's why I've always said when I die and go to heaven, there's going to be a lot of space there because there's a lot of people that follow false prophets in this world.
I don't follow any prophets, so I'll be all right.
Well, but anyway, I did read this morning that I guess the pharmacist does no longer work for Meyer.
Good.
I don't know if he quit or Meyer fired him.
Yeah,
but
for a second there, I was worried that I might not be able to go to Meyer anymore.
So yeah, he doesn't work there anymore. How often are you at Petoskey though? But
it doesn't matter. They're
Hey, but I was trying to make the point though that we've got an election coming up.
Yeah.
And this is a prime example of why you should get out and actually vote.
Yeah. And if you look at the numbers, the numbers, dog. Atheists aside, people who identify as none in terms of religious beliefs, that number is like 25% of the population.
Yeah.
That's a big number. And if they all start going out and vote, these things might not happen.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, there's a lot of Christians that.
Oh, I'm not saying
this is a small minority of.
In a perfect world for me, as an atheist, all people would be able to believe anything they want. Anything they want. If you want to go to church 15 times a week, no one is ever going to stop you. In my perfect world,
impact
but it
public
doesn't,
policy.
Exactly, it has no bearing on public policy. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I saw that last night when I was doing some stuff for the show, and I saw that and I was like, that's bullshit. It's just it's not his right. It's not his place.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
And again, not all religious people, but it's the religious people who seem, because they have righteousness, at least in their own mind, on their side. So it allows them to be a bit more zealous.
Religion overall is allowing the crazies to run away and co-opt their story.
We can have another conversation about that. I'm not going to argue with you on that because you're right to a point, but there's it does, like I said, when you individually believe that you have righteousness on your side, what society bases as right or wrong.
But the whole thing was he didn't even know what was going on. He was judging her, which is something that is talked about a lot in the Bible, is not judging people, first off. So so for him to judge, and the other thing is she told him,
the whole Bible's judgment. But anyway.
She told him, look, it's not she tried to explain to him that the fetus wasn't viable,
right? And
this was just completing what was naturally happening,
right?
But anyway, let's get on to our topic.
Let's get on to a happier topic of horror films,
horror movies. So
things nowhere near as scary as real life.
So I was never a really huge horror fan growing up, but I know both of you were.
Yes. Yeah. Mandy, you are here, right?
You are here. You can talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I want you to turn the microphone towards you so everyone can hear you. Yes, there you go.
So we figure we talk about like some of our favorite horror movies. Mm-hmm. Just individual, personal horror films. We'll start with you, Mandy. What's just a horror movie that you've going back to your childhood that maybe you associate with Halloween or,
the Halloween season.
The Halloween
I will
season.
never watch again is Exorcist.
Really?
Yes.
Did it scare you?
Yes.
Good, because that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Did it scare you more as a kid or as an adult?
Adult.
Okay.
I cannot watch it as an adult now.
Now, I'm curious, did it scare you as an adult because you put yourself in the place of the mother?
No.
And maybe sympathize with her
It's
as
just
a
a
mother?
scary-ass movie?
Nope. Just scary.
Because that's, obviously it doesn't scare me, it never did, but when you're watching a film like that, of any kind, most of us are either putting ourselves in the position of one or multiple characters in the film.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the kind of the depth of that film, is watching not so much what's happening to the girl, but happening to the mother herself, having to deal with watching her daughter, decay into this whatever it was.
Demon.
Well, yeah, because there's talk of mental health issues too.
It was just terrifying.
Yes, yeah. Well, it is. It's one of the best shot horror films ever, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of that, just the way
Mandy found the spring on her mic stand.
we do it all the time.
I know. We always do it. Along those same lines, though, I kind of felt the same way about Poltergeist. I was terrified of that fucking movie growing up. And what?
That's what I meant.
Oh, you didn't mean The Exorcist? You meant Poltergeist?
Poltergeist, yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, everything I said still applies, but but Poltergeist is another example of a very
that's the
well.
TV, like the
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
They're here.
What was that? Was that the second one where they found all the bodies underneath the house?
Craig T. Nelson.
Yes.
Yes. Was that the second or third one? Because it wasn't the first one.
No, the third one was in the high rise.
The high rise. Okay, so that had to be the second one.
The second one, yeah, they dug up. They actually found more of the bodies because remember all the bodies were coming out of the swimming pool
at the end of the first one.
At the end of the first one. So, and that one, it was implied that they had just moved the tombstones and left the bodies in the cemetery and they built that subdivision over it. With the second one, it's implied that even farther down,
because they go in this huge cavern underneath the house and it's just like filled with bodies.
Right, with Cain's followers, the old man, the creepy old man.
Yep. So yeah,
that was the movie.
Poltergeist, was definitely one of them. What about you, Ian?
Oh God, I mean The Exorcist is probably one of my favorites, but Poltergeist is another very well shot film. And there is some.
I think there's a big drop off after one, though.
Well, and that's kind of standard with any franchise of any kind. I still like the second one a lot. Nowhere near as much as the first, and I think the third one had potential that just wasn't met. But with Poltergeist, there is some debate as to who actually directed that film.
Oh, really?
Because Tobe Hooper is credited as the director of the film. Steven Spielberg as the producer of the film. But there are a lot of shots in there that are very Spielberg-esque.
I've actually heard that before.
And it's, Texas Chainsaw Massacre aside, as far as a clean, very well shot film, Tobe Hooper is a very kind of guerrilla filmmaker. He is his shots and all of his movies are very kind of rough and jarring. And
he shot Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, co-wrote it too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, he wrote.
I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of those very overrated horror movies, though. There's some.
You have to look at when it was made.
I know that.
Look at the intensity.
You want to talk about when things are made, though? Look at Psycho. That was made decades earlier, and is a much better movie, I think, than Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, but it was also Hitchcock, who was a very well established director. And in anyone else's hands, Psycho would have sucked. Personally, I think.
I did like the new one with. What's her name? Shannon.
The new Psycho?
The new Psycho?
Poltergeist?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah. Jessica Biel.
I didn't mean to do that.
We weren't. That wasn't planned.
Sorry.
That's okay. No. As for a remake, yes, it was very decent.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who was in that one?
Jessica
Biel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I saw that one.
You did. You watched it with me, I'm sure.
What year did that come out?
2003.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I did then.
Yeah. You didn't go to the movies with me and Mandy to see it, though.
No? I don't know.
So we went, me and Mandy went to see that one.
That was better.
What about...
I wouldn't go that far, but it was a cleaner film.
I think it was better shot.
Yeah, it's a cleaner film, but...
what I remember of it.
No.
It was scarier.
I wouldn't go that far either, but the thing with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is it's so overly brutal... Yet you don't see much blood in that film. Though when you finish watching the movie, you almost feel like you saw a bloodbath. That's kind of the beauty of that film.
Yeah. The original one?
Same. Yeah, you can say the same with Halloween. There's like maybe 2 scenes of a little bit of blood in that film, but at the end you feel like you watched a typical slasher gore fest.
Yeah.
And that's kind of again the beauty of those directors of being able to accomplish that kind of a
So
thing.
it was like the opposite of Nightmare on Elm Street, where there's just blood everywhere, blood
Right.
shooting out of beds, and
But see, Nightmare on Elm Street's kind of its own thing because everything's surreal, everything's amplified because it's dream
world,
dream
yeah.
world.
It was way more terrifying.
Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
the original,
because you can't get away from the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's in your dreams. It's in your imagination. Like, it's,
And as adults, we've all had those periods of being so fucking exhausted after only like 2 days of maybe not getting much sleep. Imagine not wanting to sleep ever. Not being able to sleep ever because you're afraid you're going to die.
it was terrifying.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
I do sing that to my preschoolers.
Do you? Really?
Oh gosh.
Oh,
that out.
future psychiatrists and psychologists are just applauding at the money they're going to make.
They don't know. They don't know what any of that
No,
is.
they
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know.
They're meaner than I am.
I was just about maybe just 6 or just 7 or just before I turned 7 when I saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the one that really kind of hooked me. But I remember seeing
It was
the
what,
original-
84?
84 is when it came out, yeah. I remember seeing the original Halloween when I was 5.
Yeah.
Granted, it was on Channel 4, NBC, and it was Halloween night. But I was wrapped in that, watching that.
I think the first Halloween I ever saw was it 4? The girl in the clown costume?
Yes.
That was the first one I remember seeing.
I mean, there's a flashback of it in the 5th one, but she's wearing a clown costume.
In the poster for the movie, right?
That's 5.
Is that 5? Okay, then that was the first one I remember seeing.
That's unfortunate. Although
the scariest one for me was when he came back on the, what do you call that?
I don't know.
Gurney. When he came back on the gurney,
Oh.
and then he no, you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Which-
see, I think you might be mixing your
Nope.
your slashers.
Nope.
Friday the 13th Part 4 starts pretty much right at the end of 3, and he's in the morgue.
No,
on the
Mandy was
gurney.
never a Friday the 13th fan.
Well, that's unfortunate.
How-
Too.
That was me. She was.
Michael
also
Myers
the
was only on a
Halloween
gurney in Resurrection at the very end. Was
When
his
he
mask
came
all
back
burned
and
out?
he-
I think I know what you're talking about.
He
though.
came back on a gurney, and then it was.
I don't know. Was it gurney? Was it?
Oh, Part
and
4,
he
they wheel him
died,
out.
Like the big guy, like his psychiatrist died.
No.
Well,
In Part 4, because it's the return of Michael Myers, it's the first time he'd been in there. You're, there's a lot to
no, I think
dissect
I do.
there.
That had to have been 4. I
He
do know
came
what you're
back
talking
on a
about.
gurney, and
He
it
was
was
in
so
a
scary.
he was in a psychiatric hospital
Yes,
or
and
something.
they wheeled him
Yes.
back out on a gurney.
Yeah.
And then he
was that 4?
woke up and then
In the
killed
ambulance?
somebody. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
so-
Part 4.
Yeah, okay.
That's how it starts.
You got to work with Ian sometimes, me and you.
Yeah, I got a lot of horror movies up here. There's a lot of them
I
swimming
knew
around
what
in my-
I knew what you were talking about.
There's a lot of them swimming around in my noodle. So, good ones and bad ones. I actually did a little bit of a triple feature last night. I usually try to start watching scary movies at the beginning of October, and I got a late start. So last night I did John Carpenter triple feature. I did Prince of Darkness, The Thing, and Halloween. Obviously Halloween setting up for today.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I haven't watched The Thing in 25 years. So
It's been since I was little.
yeah.
I think it was the only
I forgot
time I
how
saw it.
gory that movie is.
Now, what did you think of The Shining? Was that did you like that when you were younger? Or?
The Jack Nicholson.
The Jack
one.
Nicholson one.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through.
No,
No.
Because it's scary or because it's kind of a slow burn?
Because I've never watched.
well, there are some kind of slower parts to
Yeah,
it.
it's a slow burn for sure.
I hate that slow burn. But
Why? 'Cause
I don't know. It's just
it
it's
applies.
such a fucking hipster thing to say. I think. But
it does apply.
Ian the hipster.
Yes, I'm such a fucking.
See, now hold
hipster.
on a second, because I was probably in the very, very small minority that actually liked the miniseries, the
Yeah.
made for TV one. Obviously, they couldn't do on TV what they can do in the movie theater with some
No,
of the shots.
my
and-
biggest issues with the miniseries is just that in an attempt to be more closer to the book, it's too long. If it had been a little shorter, more truncated, it might have had a bit more intensity to it. And the fucking actor they got to play the kid is just terrible.
Was he? I don't remember the kid.
It takes you right out of the movie.
Does it?
He's so bad. So bad. I don't think he's been in anything since. Thank God.
I would like to get that. I would like to find a copy of that on DVD. That's something.
It's floating around there. I'm surprised you haven't been able to find it on Amazon.
I've only seen it one time, and that was at Walmart.
Right, because it was a triple pack.
It was. And I was like, oh, I should buy that. And I was like, oh,
you should, because it's probably like $5.
It was 15.
Because they had the 3.
Yeah, it was 3 movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I always liked The Shining. It's probably one of my favorite ones, kind of growing up.
Yeah, the Kubrick one.
Yes.
To this day, I know Stephen King hates it. He can't stand it, but the decisions
because it's so far from his book.
It is. Well,
you know what? It was the same way. They cut I mean, obviously, it is just a gigantic book to start with.
Yeah, it's just over 1,000 pages.
Yeah, and the miniseries, I mean, they cut so much out of the book.
Well, they had to, and again, that was made for TV. I mean, there's that whole gay pride thing at the beginning of the book, and I mean, they couldn't have done that in 1991 television.
No.
So, but yeah, it's The Shining. That's in my top 10 because it's like The Exorcist and Poltergeist. It's not so much how scary it is; it's just how well it's made. The filming choices that intensify the dread and the suspense just make that film. You should watch it. You need to watch it.
Did you guys ever watch? Was it The House?
House, yeah.
House, yep.
That's a good one too. No, for
House 2 was terrible.
I liked House 2.
House 2 was a really strange, campy horror movie.
No, but House 1 for a ghost story, yeah.
I don't remember what they were. I just remember I had my friends over and they all hid in the bedroom and I sat in my living room alone watching it by myself.
That was the one with Richard Mall.
Was it?
Yeah, he played the ghost. He was yeah. Night Court.
Night Court, yeah.
He played Bull on there.
Oh.
No, he was the Vietnam guy who died and was haunting William Catt.
Yeah, that's right. God, it's been
because William Catt's son
25 years since I've seen the movie.
Yeah. No, all
I remember is they went to open a door and there was something creepy behind it. Yeah. That's like
the original House was very well done too. I think that was a Sean Cunningham film or a production anyway. He did Friday the 13th.
My favorite is Amityville Horror.
No, your favorite is Sleepaway Camp.
No.
Hey, no other horror film has a twist ending like that fucking movie does.
Does it? I've never seen
rocking her penis and
What?
Yeah, the whole movie you find out that this girl oh god, I can't remember.
I don't even know the premise of this movie.
She's at summer camp and she's the killer, but then you find out that she's not really a she's a he, and her aunt made her a she, and that's what kind of made her twisted at the end. She's like standing there screaming and she's got a penis.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
At the end she's like
while she's screaming, she's doing this really. After we're done recording, I'll show you. They can watch that on YouTube.
Really?
It's awesome. Yeah,
that's why I hate porta potties because of that movie.
And then they made like 8 of them, didn't they?
Yes.
There was a bunch of them.
Like 4.
They made 4, I think.
Okay.
And they're really good. They're really good.
Well, that's
for what they are, I guess.
That's debatable. They're fun to watch. I'll give you that much. But
they're creepy to watch. They're not
fun.
They're
not creepy at all.
What was the other one that was kind of like that? It wasn't like a really super scary movie, but it was kind of creepy in its own right. Was it Dr. Giggles?
I like Dr. Giggles. That was just camp all the way. But,
it was,
but it was fun.
Who was that?
Larry Drake played the.
Is that who that was?
Played Dr. Giggles, yeah, from L.A. Law and.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Dark Man. Mandy doesn't know
that
one. Yeah, you don't
Dark
know that
Man,
one.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Man. Oh God, that's a movie I forgot about.
Mm-hmm. Good old Sam Raimi film.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, what are some other ones that?
Well,
I mean, we can go through the franchises. We mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah,
the remake. That's
the remake.
Favorite.
The remake is better. I think better than the original. That's one of the very few movies where I think a remake is better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't necessarily argue with that because the problem with the original is when I say slow burn in my hipster talk, I guess it applies there, but it doesn't serve the film. Whereas in other horror films where that slowness kind of serves it doesn't serve it in the original.
Like A Quiet Place.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
Quiet Place is kind of slow at times too.
Exactly, but it serves the film.
Yeah, it really feeds into the anxiety that you get watching the movie.
And that's the original Amityville Horror. The original has a couple moments that are just really fantastic horror moments, but overall it just lacks the intensity of what the remake was. You know, and neither one of them are entirely accurate to the book, because I read the book several times.
So did I.
There's a lot of things changes and
I said I did not.
No.
It was the only book I've ever read in less than a day and a half. I literally sat down and just read the whole thing through.
I remember I got sick as hell. I got pneumonia in the middle of July while I was reading that fucking book, and I was like, I stopped for 3 months. I thought I got sick from the damn book or something.
Well, hey, the priest in it gets very sick.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know what summer it was for you, but it was summer of '93 when I read it. We had a cold snap, and it was August, and it was 60-some degrees outside. And I had the book. I was like, I'll sit and read it. So I sat in a chair with a blanket, and I just read, and I didn't stop.
Yeah.
I stopped to maybe eat and go to the bathroom, but I was that whole day and into the night, I read that whole book.
Yeah.
Because it was just so good. And it's so fictional, but it's so good.
What are some other ones, Mandy?
You like the Slumber Party Massacre movies too, didn't you?
I did.
So you like the really cheesy
I do. I really
ones
do.
where the plot is
second.
Well, I was gonna say insignificant, where there's really no plot.
But they were
I was
scary.
gonna say the plot is second to some nudity.
But it was
and
stuff
killing.
that really happened. Like if you go to camp and that happens, that's real. Right?
You've been chased at camp by a masked murderer?
I've never been to camp.
Have you been in a sorority where you've been chased by a masked
I've never
murderer?
been to sorority. But had I, that would be
That's what would happen.
I guess.
I mean, these are the things that sorority girls have to go through. Killers with big drills. Yes.
But those are good.
Here's one that's for me. It's in my top 10, but it's considered low budget, and a lot of people kind of give it a little shit. Is Witchboard with Tawny Kitaen and
I don't know if I ever actually saw it.
I love it. I mean, it's very dated.
Did you see it, Mandy?
No.
It's 80s. It is 80s all the way across the board. But it's in, like I said, it's in my top 10 because there's a lot of these. It's typical, possession-ish kind of, Ouija board stuff. But it was the first Ouija board movie, first of all, and there's just some really key shots that are just super awesome that stand out amongst other horror films of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my top 10 for sure. Personal top 10s,
So we used to chase our friend around. She was not allowed to have a Ouija board.
Uh-huh.
And we used to chase her around the house.
With a Ouija board?
Mm-hmm. It was not fun, but it was.
So you were a bully.
I think I was.
If that friend was here today, what would you say to that friend, Mandy?
Nothing.
I'll tell you what I would say if I was you. I'd be like, Ouija boards aren't real. Get over it.
Right.
So, yeah.
What about now? This is a little after, as it was late '90s. But what about the Blair Witch Project?
No, I hated it.
The original
Hated
was very original. I don't know if it holds up because I watched it.
See, I haven't seen it since '99 or whatever when it came
when
out.
did the new sequel come out? Last year or the year before?
It was
2016.
last couple of years.
Yeah, 2016. I watched the first one right before I watched that one.
Yeah,
and it doesn't hold up.
No,
it really. It's. I mean, it still has some of those elements where you watch and go, "That was clever," but it just doesn't hold up on rewatching for me. And the sequel wasn't. Great
I thought it was good when it came out, but like I said, I haven't.
Yeah, well,
seen
at the time it was
then.
so.
I think
just
people
so
thought
new.
it was real, and that's what the
that's what the way they
hype
played it
was.
up.
It was like this
But
is a real story.
Even though it wasn't, and it was just clever and original at the time. But it's been done a billion times since.
Yeah.
Now
the found footage kind of thing.
The argument could be made that Halloween was its thing, and then a billion imitators came out after that. That didn't devalue Halloween, but for some reason it
does,
the Blair Witch
Blair
just
Witch.
doesn't hold up for me.
I
I
did
still
not like
enjoy
it.
watching it, but it just doesn't hold
Nope.
up.
Now,
I got seasickness watching it.
Just go on a shaky cam.
motion sickness.
Right.
What about now another movie that kind of came around the same kind of time? I think it was like early 2000s. Was The Ring?
I hated it.
You hated The Ring?
Yeah, I found no value in it. I mean, maybe a little bit in the first one. The second one is garbage.
Is
it was
it?
painful for me to watch.
The only one I've ever saw. You've seen it, haven't you?
Was
Mandy?
that the one where the lady climbs out of the TV?
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
that well.
That was creepy.
I think it was creepy.
Yeah.
I liked it, but
I don't know. It just never really worked for me.
It didn't stick with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it again. I didn't.
That goes the
well.
same
We saw the new one.
Which is another sequel.
Yeah, it just came out a couple years ago. Which
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I don't think that was very good though.
That's what everyone says. I won't even watch it because after the, I very rarely I will sit through bad horror films. 9 times out of 10, I'll even enjoy a bad horror film.
Zombie Lake.
Exactly. Zombie Lake's a perfect example. That
I love
movie is
Zombie- I love
terrible.
I love Zombie Lake.
That movie's terrible, but it's fun to watch.
You seen that before, Mandy? Where the Nazis are in the oh, that was
Yeah, I was little.
Yeah,
we used to
that
be
was
on Channel
a
20,
staple,
wasn't it?
staple on the Thriller double feature on Channel 20.
I used to love that.
Yeah, but I can sit through bad horror films, but usually those bad horror films aren't taking themselves so seriously. Zombie Lake, as an example.
Yeah.
When movies try too hard to take themselves seriously and they're still fucking garbage, I can't do it. The Boogeyman was another one that was just bad. We went to we went to see it.
Candyman was scary.
Yeah,
Candyman's very
Candyman.
good.
Yeah, Candyman. That's a really good one, and the sequel was really good too. I thought
It was decent.
the first
yeah,
sequel,
very decent.
There's
The third
what 3 or 4 of them now.
There's 3 total.
Like if you didn't go to the mirror and say Candyman 3 times
Yeah.
and turn around in the dark, that was terrifying.
I did it the very first night I watched the movie.
Yeah,
Right after the movie was
Sarah
over.
was terrified. She's like, "Don't say it, Mandy." And I'm like, "I'm gonna say it, Candyman."
that's hilarious.
I think Candyman was 5 times. You didn't say it 5.
No,
I
it's 3
think.
times.
Was it 3 times? It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I think
They're talking
I
about
don't know.
remaking it.
Are they?
Yeah.
So they need to stop with that bullshit. Come up with original ideas.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, it's a Clive Barker story.
But there's a new one that I don't remember what it is now. Something just came out that's new, and it looks more terrifying than it did before.
A remake? Mm-hmm. No.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll have to look it up, but I can't remember.
It's like in theaters now?
or it's coming out.
No, it might be coming
Oh,
out.
Suspiria. Maybe. Suspiria's coming out soon.
Is that a remake?
Yeah. Well, it's a remake of an Italian film from the 70s.
No, Mandy. I think Mandy's talking about something that she's seen before, and now they're remaking, and it looks scarier.
Huh. I'll have to look too. I'm very excited for the Suspiria remake. I'd like to see what an American director can do with that, because I mean, you can watch Suspiria with English language. It's
Oh, they're remaking Pet Cemetery.
Oh,
That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
And it looks so much more terrifying. And it was
I don't
terrifying
know.
to start with.
yeah. As I say, I don't know that first one.
It wasn't terrifying. It was like
Just creepy.
it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and creepy.
It was
yeah,
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like Cole or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Losing
Yep.
the child.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Did you know that was filmed? That was directed by a woman?
No.
Was it?
I
Really?
didn't know. And that, I mean, at the time, there weren't many. I don't think there were any female directors doing horror. I mean, there were female directors, but not doing horror. And that was a female director.
It's a Stephen King movie, right?
It's based on Stephen King's
his book. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a horror movie that came out this year too called Mandy.
I know.
Yes, but here's the thing.
It only did $1.12 million. So,
But my kid showed it to me.
oh, are you serious?
Yes. And I was terrified. I was
It's
like,
got-
don't even look at that.
It's got Nicolas Cage in it. It can't.
well,
be
it can't be
scary.
good at all.
Yeah, well, it can't be scary at least.
Well, it can't be good at all.
Yeah. Has Nicolas Cage ever made a good
Cage.
movie?
No.
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 Peggy Sue Got Married.
No.
He was in that.
The answer is no. Ian.
Peggy Sue Got Married is a good movie.
No.
Everyone repeat after me.
What?
1, 2, 3.
No.
You don't like Peggy Sue Got Married?
No.
You don't like Raising Arizona?
No.
I
Oh
guess-
my God.
I guess.
Are you serious?
I guess Raising Arizona's
No.
okay.
No.
It's not a great movie though.
It's not my favorite, but it's a decent movie.
No. And that
Peggy
one,
Sue Got Married? You
Do
should
you
love that
remember
movie.
the
Ian,
scary movie
I
he
will
was in?
I will counter that with Face Off. There you go.
No.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
now
no.
you're now,
Yeah,
now
no.
your argument's dead.
Okay, the scary movie that he was in, like the
He's in a couple.
the witches, and they were like,
Oh, Wicker Man?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
That's not
garbage.
scary. Yes,
no.
exactly.
Well, and the original is one of those movies that
The original I liked. I liked the
because
original. I didn't like the remake.
The original has that, it's like Hammer thing, Hammer vibe going for it. The
It's
remake
so
is
stupid.
atrocious.
It's trash.
Atrocious.
Okay, so side note, that took me back to what is it, the Children of the Corn?
Yep, the original.
The blonde kids
Yep.
with the blue eyes. That was scary.
wait.
What is it?
Children of the Corn, it was just all different looking kids.
No,
No.
you're thinking of God. What is
Village
that?
of the Damned?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all the white kids with the
Yeah.
blonde hair and the blue
You
eyes.
saw the version with Christopher Reeve, right?
I think so.
That was a John Carpenter film.
That was
So
scary.
and again, John Carpenter knows how to film horror.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. This is my life in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, no shit.
Wow.
No.
Children of the Corn could apply too, really, in some areas.
I would say that's more Dundee than
It is now,
Tennessee.
yes.
Yeah.
But it's changing.
Very slowly.
Dundee has the potential Tennessee will never have. And it's in the north.
So you see, that Pet Cemetery comes out next year.
Yeah,
2019.
Yeah. And
So
the
yeah,
second
that looks
chapter of
good.
It's coming out next year.
But that
too.
was another
You
one
know, I
I would
still haven't
never
seen it.
watch again. Like, I've watched it once, and I will never
Cemetery?
watch. Yes, no.
Again, is it because as a mother?
Because it's terrifying. Just because of the semi scene. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Done. I'm
Oh
done.
yeah. What about
And then your kid comes back? No.
what about Sleepwalkers?
Kevin Bacon?
No,
No.
that's the Sleepers.
What is Sleepwalker?
Sleepwalkers was like they're werewolf changeling kind of thing as a mother and son.
Don't
No,
think I know that one.
That was a Stephen King
Yeah. story.
novelette,
Novella.
whatever the fuck you want to call it. That movie wasn't really creepy. Just the music that they used.
Yeah,
made
that
it
that
so.
one like oldie song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't remember. It's but they play it several times because there's a bit of incest going on there too. And,
A little bit.
Yeah, well,
A
yeah,
whole lot.
whole lot of incest going on. But every
Thank
time
you.
they're together, that song's playing. But
Okay. No, thank you.
yeah, it's pretty rough to watch, but it's an interesting film just because like it's a werewolfy kind of monster story. Sometimes they come back. That's another one. That's a good Stephen King one.
Stephen King made a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
There was the one.
Creep Show.
Yeah, Creep Show,
Love
obviously.
Creep Show. God, I love Creep Show.
You should love. Everyone should love Creep Show. That is
That's
like
what we grew up watching. Like
that's
Creep
the
Show
quick.
and
Yep. Tales from the Crypt.
yes,
Yep.
yes, that was like was it Friday night?
Yeah.
Like that's what
it
you,
moved-
you
it
got your
moved-
popcorn out and you
It
watched
moved nights a lot.
Did it?
whatever.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
that's
I-
what
I
you
thought it was
watched.
either Friday or Saturday.
It was on
on
Tuesdays originally because I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch it at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
my mom let me. Sorry about your luck.
Well, yeah.
That's what we watched. What did
Yeah.
we watch? Oh, us.
Well, I mean, when it was rerun on the weekends, I was able to catch it then. So.
Yeah.
But-
What was it? Oh, Tales from the Dark Side.
yeah, that was another one. I actually I've been watching those old Tales from the Dark
Mhm.
Sides recently. Just started at season 1.
I
Gotta watch
started
them.
watching them with my kids.
It's
hmm
it doesn't have the same impact that it did when I was a kid. I mean, not that I was ever scared by it, but I just remember them being better, I guess. But
Because we were little.
well, there was like the very first one. I think it's the pilot. It's the old guy who has like he owns all the debt in the town, and every Halloween, if you want to, he would set his house up, and if you wanted to send your kid, they could try to find all their IOUs, their debts for their family.
Oh,
And he
really?
would just scare them. And I remember seeing that one when I was a kid. I was like, I love that. And then I watched it again, and it's like just this old witch shows up and kills him, and then gives the IOUs to this kid and flies away. Like,
That's weird.
yeah, I don't remember it being so anticlimactic.
See,
When I
I
was a
think I
kid.
remember the Tales from the Crypt where they scalped the guy, and then they were on.
The Raft.
Yes, and the blob came out and ate them on the
That's
raft.
creep.
No,
That's creep.
Creep
Is that Creep
Show
Show?
That's creep show too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I watched with my kids.
Yeah.
They scalped the guy in the. That's the wooden Indian,
Indian, yeah.
Uh huh.
and then the
What a
raft was
what
the
a
raft.
Native American, Ian.
Yes, stop. And then the raft, and that's also got the hit the I forgot the name of the hitchhiker guy, but she runs the guy over, and then he's like following her. He's like,
Oh.
she gets back to her garage, and he's there. He's like, "Thanks for the ride, lady."
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's awesome.
That was great. What about Scream?
I love Scream.
Scream is a game changer, but it's funny. I was watching one of the YouTube channels I like, and they were talking about the new Halloween a little bit, and they were talking about Scream changed. It was a game changer, but may have actually destroyed the slasher films because it was so self-aware and done so well that no other slasher films have been able to do that because they all have to be kind of self-aware now.
Yeah,
I can.
And they're not good enough to do what that one did.
Because that one felt real. Like you're babysitting, you're Drew Barrymore, you're babysitting somebody, and like somebody comes in your back door, and then.
Well, she wasn't babysitting; she was waiting for a boyfriend. Remember?
No, she was babysitting at a house.
No, I think you're thinking of.
That screams Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, she was making popcorn because she was waiting for a boyfriend because the boyfriend was dead outside. Remember, his guts all spilling?
She was still at the house.
She was babysitting.
I thought she was babysitting. So.
What about Joyride? That's kind of
that was a clever long same lines. Yeah, very clever. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know. Is that really horror, or is that just more suspense?
So.
I think anything that's suspense, it's
because there's some debate.
You can classify Jaws as a horror movie.
Yeah, you could, but there's like some debate on like
people were terrified. Obviously, I wasn't alive when it came out, but from everything I've seen about it, people were like,
it was still relatively new when you did come out because back then they didn't have VHS, so it was they were still showing it in theaters when you were born.
Yeah, that's true. But people were, it terrified people.
Yeah, well, it's super duper well shot. That's
super duper.
Super duper
that's
well
a
shot.
technical term.
Wait, Joyride?
No, Jaws.
Oh,
Jaws.
We jumped because basically the question I had was: is Joyride a horror film or more of a suspense thriller? Because that argument's made again with like Silence of the Lambs. Is Silence of the Lambs a horror film or is that
I think that's more suspense than horror.
But it's terrifying. That's like stuff that can really happen.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Freaks
so
you out.
there's
because
horror.
So a lot of that stuff has happened.
So that's like the movies I like. Doggone it, with the mask.
What mask? What's
Halloween?
it look like?
No.
Friday the 13th?
No. Chrissy bought me the movies.
Oh, Saw?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's not a mask. It's like a little puppet.
Yeah, but he has a mask.
Yeah, they've got like the pig mask.
The pig mask. Yeah, in the first one. Saw,
terrifying.
Saw, the first one was...
That's real stuff.
No one, I know, but no one's setting up those elaborate traps.
Yeah, no one's burying a key behind your eyeball.
Yeah.
Maybe they could.
See, there's a lot of debate on the Saw films because at least the first one is very original, very clever.
I like the first one.
The sequels get a little convoluted, but they're not terrible films either. They're well-made movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But do they serve the original in any way? I don't know if they do or not. But
I think the storyline got really kind of strange.
Yeah, it got convoluted a bit.
They were still terrifying.
They're still good movies.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there who just, it's one of those things you either love them or hate them, and there's really no in between.
Kind of like Nosferatu.
Never
the
seen
original.
You either love or hate it.
I don't know how anyone could not like it personally because it's just.
I mean, I like it. I mean, especially it's. You haven't seen it yet, have you?
It's a silent film. She'll never watch it.
I will never watch it.
But some of it's almost kind of funny.
I couldn't even watch that Tom Hanks silent film. When he was
Castaway.
It wasn't really a silent film either. Almost, yeah.
I fell asleep. And
there was more dialogue in Castaway than there is in
exactly
A Quiet
why
Place.
I will not watch it. Oh, that was horrible. Okay, stop.
Scary horrible though.
Yeah,
not bad horrible.
Quiet Place is a fantastic movie.
It was.
Yeah, it was really good. I had to watch the Russian version.
Yeah, Ian watched it in Russian.
So,
but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I know. That's why, because that was the version I had to review.
So, when they were originally working on the movie, when they first started working on A Quiet Place, I want to say there was only like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue in the entire movie.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And when they started shooting it, they weren't going to add subtitles. So you're going to have to understand through their emotions.
Well, or if you understood sign language.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
even remember subtitles in this one.
Yeah, there was.
My subtitles were in Russian.
My
subtitles were in Russian, so I had to guess what the sign language was.
You just cried anyway, like I did.
No, that's a perfect example of, I guess, a modern day silent film because that's really
But we're leaving out a huge one.
Okay.
Night of the Living Dead.
Huge.
Yes.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead actually,
which is a movie that to this day still terrifies my mother. You can't even talk about
Night of the Living Dead around my mother.
My mom refuses to watch that movie to this day. And I sat down and tried to watch The Walking Dead with her, and she, for the same reason, she said, "I can't do this." that's hilarious. She can watch anything else, but the zombie. For some reason, I don't know if it's the zombies or just that kind of end of the world claustrophobicness of the original. I don't know, but she cannot watch that movie.
Okay, those were my favorites growing up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now here's the real kicker. This is how you know if you're a horror fan or not. Return of the Living Dead, the first one.
I think that was my absolute favorite one.
Yeah,
of course it should be because honestly, that was doing what Scream was doing, and it did it 9 years before or 11 years before, because it wasn't taking itself too seriously, but it was still scary, and it was self-referential and comedic and just awesome. You know, you naked Linnea Quigley dancing on the tombstone.
Yep.
You know, you had the Tar Man coming out of the toxic container. So awesome. So awesome.
Now I'm sure I'm in the minority once again. I liked the remake of Dawn of the Dead better than the original.
No,
is that
Mandy?
That's what we saw in the movie theater.
Yeah,
when you were pregnant with Jack.
Yeah,
terrifying.
She sat so I still smoked. I still smoked at the time. Yeah. So after we saw the movie, it was like so we were parked on the back side of the movie theater. Yeah. There was like no other cars over there. No, you were. It was just two of us.
It
was just the two of us.
We all went and saw it together. Well, then you went and saw it again.
Yeah,
maybe we did
because it was just the two of us outside, and I was standing outside my car smoking a cigarette, and Mandy's inside bawling. Like hysterically crying because she thought zombies were going to come and fucking kill me.
That's what hormones will do to you.
I guess.
She was very pregnant at the time also.
You two, me and Sarah, we all went and saw it together.
I think we saw it multiple times. We had to have seen it multiple times. Because I know just the two of us went and saw it.
So...
Yeah, because it was at Showcase.
Yeah.
It's not Showcase, but...
Rave Cinemas now.
No, it's Cinemark now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
But... yeah, I mean, that was the only theater we all went to back then, was that one.
But that was terrifying. That was good, though. It was
good. I like...
real. Like, I like stuff that can be...
Well, see,
possibly be real.
There's a sense of realism
to it. That's what terrifies me.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my problem with it. If they're reanimated dead, they're not running faster than me. It's not possible. It's not possible.
It's not possible. It's not possible that they're...
reanimated dead. I understand that, but what it is. But if you look at Romero's zombie movies and The Walking Dead and a lot of other zombie movies,
but they
move slow because they're rotting.
But the thing is, look, if you've got slow zombies, it's less terrifying because I can fucking walk away from them.
Yes.
They can't get me.
You're right.
The fucking remake Dawn of the Dead zombies, they ran like fucking cheetahs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you couldn't get away from them.
Yeah.
And that
was terrifying.
But my question then becomes, are they still zombies or is it something else like 28 weeks later or 28 days later?
We don't know.
28 days later, it was a virus that made them go crazy, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
If their bodies are rotting, they're not running.
We don't know if they're not running.
Well, although...
I'm going to tell you, it's scarier being able to run.
To be fair, they run in Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the one calls it on the phone, more cops, send more cops, because they eat the cops, and the cops show up and they just like they just crowd the cars. Yeah.
Okay, so my most terrifying movie ever, and I don't know if it's a horror film, is The Birds.
It's horror. Because
scares the shit out of me.
Yes, because anytime you're out at the zoo or something, and there's a flock of freaking birds that fly over top of you, that's the first thing you think of. Or you walk outside and you see 10,000 birds lined up on freaking telephone lines.
And they're just staring at you.
And they're just sitting there.
We were on the playground the other day, and the kids are like, "Look at the birds," and I was like, "No!"
Hey, that's Hitchcock for you. In anyone else's hands, that movie would have sucked.
Should we go inside? And everybody's like,
it didn't matter. The birds would crash into the windows and break through. And,
that was the most terrifying, I think, movie I ever saw as a child.
Really?
Yes.
I've never seen a movie.
Because you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
I've never seen a movie that really terrified me.
It just came for you.
Yep.
I will say, the movie that kind of creeped me out the most...
They come through the car window and everything.
The movie that creeped me out the most was it was TV. It was a made-for-TV film, but it was the Helter Skelter. Because the guy that got to play Manson was almost too realistic.
There's a remake of it.
They've made it like a dozen times. Tarantino's remaking it right now, essentially.
That's sad.
But the original with God, what's his name?
That one guy with the one face.
Yeah,
and the eyes.
Steve something. He as Manson. There was something too good about his performance. That it just really creeped me out.
I didn't realize that was made for TV.
Yeah, it was made for TV.
Yeah, that was
Railsback. Steve Railsback was the actor who played Charles in that one.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
But as far as like newer movies, I thought Split was really good. Mandy, I know you hated that, didn't you?
I did not like that one.
I'm embarrassed to say I still haven't seen it.
God.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Who was in that one?
James McAvoy.
That guy. As I point to the picture.
No, I didn't like that one because he was no.
Too creepy.
No, I don't know.
Too over the top.
Maybe.
Because I don't think I'll see it that way. But
I think but
I can see that performance being perceived in more than.
I think the multiple personalities that he played was awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he did an awesome job.
I think that's what creeped me out. I think that's the same thing as the Matthew McConaughey, and when he dug.
Frailty.
Frailty.
No.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Hated that one too.
That's probably one of my favorite.
But see,
suspense movies.
I was say, is that horror?
I wouldn't think that's horror. I think I would call that suspense.
But there's a lot of horror elements to it.
There is.
Oh.
But that's a fan. And that movie, I just watched that last year, and that's still a really good fucking movie.
Yeah, it is.
I hated that movie.
It still holds up really well.
It was terrifying.
But I don't know. I mean, we did kind of gloss over the sequelitis issue with these franchises.
Oh yeah, because my favorite one is Friday the 13th.
Right.
And
what's your favorite of the Friday the 13th? Is it the first one?
No, it's probably not. It's probably.
I love the first
I'd probably say either 2, 3, or 4.
Okay,
probably 2 or 3.
And arguably, you could watch them as one movie because they take place over 3 days.
Yeah, they really
in
are.
the timeline.
Yep.
So,
but you know what? I also like Jason 10. Jason
whatever. Yeah,
Which is the one where they slam the guy's head in the.
So they like freeze the guy's head, the girl. Yeah, they freeze her head, which isn't really possible.
No, it's still. It's
a great death
It's
scene.
another movie that it doesn't take itself seriously. It says, okay, it's Jason he's in space, and he's going to just be killing people in the most creative ways possible, and that's what
Mandy's even telling you to stop pounding.
So, and that's just all it is, and that's what you're getting. You get exactly what you pay for with that movie.
But that reminds me of that other movie. Is it Clowns in Space?
Killer
Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah.
Because it had the same
kind of goofiness. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
I haven't watched that in
I forgot
20
about
years.
that.
They're talking about remaking that too.
No. Geez.
What about Rosemary's Baby?
I haven't seen the remake, but obviously the original.
I didn't know they remade it.
Yeah, it was Zoe Saldana.
Really?
Yeah, it was made for TV though.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember that though. I didn't watch it. Your mom did.
That's another one that. I mean, it has a lot of horror elements to it, but I don't know. It's you can almost ask yourself, is this truly horror?
Yeah.
Or not? But again, it's just the way it's shot. It's shot
especially
so
for the time. It was like
68. Yeah, 68. Yeah, for the time, it was way ahead of it. It was ahead of its time,
definitely.
Because that was pre-Exorcist, and it is to The Exorcist what Psycho is to Halloween. I think, in a sense, in terms of how you can do a quality mid to high budget horror film. So I don't know.
I'm just showing you the time.
Oh.
But
real quick, just kind of wrap it up. Man, what about last one though, Mandy? What about Hellraiser? Were a big Hellraiser fan?
I watched it, but I don't remember anything about it.
No.
Other than he had pins in his head.
Yeah. I like the first one out. I don't know if I really liked any of the sequels.
The second and third one are decent. The second one's actually arguably better than the first one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's been a long time since I've seen them.
Because it's got a bigger budget. And
what did they do? I don't remember anything about the
movie. A box. So you open up the box.
Like a Pandora's box.
A puzzle box. And it let out
the demons.
That might have been one Mom didn't let me watch.
Yeah.
There's some sex in it. It was one of the few movies there was a point of contention when I was a kid. I think
it was either that or I watched Clue. And so I watched Clue.
Well, Clue's a brilliant film too. That's one of those ones where you're like, no, but it's like one of those movies where you're like, I got to choose between this good movie and this good movie.
I think my mom wouldn't let me watch Hellraiser, so she
let you watch Clue.
Made me watch Clue.
Well, I guess just real quick to wrap it up, if you wanted to,
already,
we're already at like almost an hour.
We can do this for 2 hours.
We really could. It goes by quick.
Let's just keep going.
So for people out there that are listening. Okay, if there's one horror movie that you wanted them to see, what would it be?
Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds.
2005. Yep. You go first. I got to think about it.
I got to think about it too. I mean,
can I say it again because you talked over me?
Sure.
Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds. That is my go-to movie all the time that I watch by myself.
Good choice. Good choice.
I guess I would say Poltergeist.
No.
Poltergeist, because that's a terrifying.
No. It's a terrifying movie.
You can't watch
the original.
that.
I'm almost 40, and it terrifies the shit out of me today.
Have you still watched it? Like, you cannot watch that again. Like, that's so scary. You cannot watch
Mandy,
it again.
I've watched that movie at least a dozen times.
It's so scary that actors and actresses in the movie were dying while making it.
Yes, I turned it on again, and I was like,
have you seen
I
the
cannot
remake?
do this.
If you want to watch the movie Poltergeist, that's not scary. Watch the remake.
Okay, well, I don't want to watch a remake. I want to watch
that's
scary
the original, right?
But I still would not watch the remake.
What about for you?
What
about for you, Ian?
Oh, see, that's a tough one.
One movie.
This is my genre, though. It's like asking me to
pick a favorite child.
Yeah.
Would it be the first Halloween movie?
That would be the movie I would recommend for introducing someone to slasher films.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about that other movie where they chop people up in the woods.
That's Friday the 13th.
No, the other one. And they
Wrong
eat them.
Turn?
No.
And eat them?
Deliverance?
Oh my gosh. No.
What movie
There's a lot of woods
it's
movies.
It's another You movie. Like, it was another movie, like, and he has a mask and he puts people's face on.
Leatherface?
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
We did.
We did.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Maybe I was
because you
sleeping.
said you liked the remake better than the original.
Yeah.
All right, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
We're usually sleeping.
So what about your
Halloween? If you want to introduce you to slasher films, The Exorcist. If you want to be introduced to like supernatural horror, and
he's really bad at just picking one, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's
I know
some
my
genres.
Yeah,
there's
I
some
watch
genres.
it every
if
time
there's like
I'm home alone.
if you
Alien,
hold
or
on,
the Thing
let's
for
say
like
this.
space horror.
So if someone walked up to you right now and said, "Ian, I've never seen any horror movie in my life. What is one movie that I have to watch right now?"
I would say,
pick one.
I can't pick just
You have
one.
to.
You have to pick just one. You indecisive bastard.
Wait. Can I just let me
No.
clarify?
Yes.
Let me
No.
clarify.
Yes, he can.
Let
Yes,
me
he
clarify.
can.
Okay, this one person who's never seen a horror movie, are they easily frightened?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because if they're easily
They
frightened, you
ask
got to
you.
start them slow.
No.
You can't.
No.
Your favorite. Like, what do you watch when you're alone and you're like, this is my go-to movie?
Porn.
Stop.
Horror porn.
No, God, no, not horror porn. And porn only lasts like 5 minutes anyway.
Right? Your
God,
go-to, like...
It would either be The Exorcist or Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. Either one of those two. For sure. Those are my go-tos.
So
On a rainy day, though,
So you tell him to pick one and he picks two.
On a rainy day, it could just as easily be Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Night of the Living Dead or The Thing. I mean,
Well,
really.
I wouldn't start someone out with Friday the 13th.
Blob.
Oh, the remake of The Blob is fantastic. That's another one where the remake is better than the original.
Who pounded?
That was me.
The remake is way better than the original.
That was not scary when I was little.
No, but it's still better. Critters.
Oh, but what was the other thing?
What?
There was another Blob movie that came out of the swamp.
The Swamp Thing?
I think so.
No, Swamp Thing was like a plant man.
Yeah.
But I think that was,
That's probably what you're thinking of, yeah.
he was
But that wasn't
nasty.
horror. That was actually a superhero movie, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, technically.
But
But directed by Wes Craven. the
Sorry,
original.
guys.
Wes Craven directed it, so hey.
Yeah, scary movie. No.
Scary movie.
so hey, Mandy, thanks for being on the show. We had
No, she has
fun.
another thought.
Darn.
She has
What?
a thought.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Because we never went into the Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to because I wanted to mention like sequels and stuff.
Because those are ones that get in your mind. That was another
Yeah.
one that like you can't watch and just forget. Like it's like, okay, now am I going to go to sleep and he's going to come get me?
Well, I never had that problem, but yeah.
Really?
No, yeah, never. I've never had a nightmare that I can remember.
Oh my god, you don't sleep deep enough then.
Maybe, but I mean, I remember some of my dreams, but I don't ever remember having a nightmare.
All right,
So
Nick's yawning.
You guys done?
maybe we should have done this podcast without him. He'd have like 8 hours of material to
I
edit.
would have had time to prepare. I would have had a list.
I had to twist Mandy's arm just to be on the show.
Yeah. Well,
And you had fun coming on, didn't
I
you?
did have fun, but I wasn't prepared. So
Well, neither is Ian. Ian's never prepared to do anything.
no, that's why you say The Blob. I'm like, oh yeah. the remake of the Blob. So
Ian, so this is our like ongoing bit for 49 episodes is how Ian never has notes.
Uh-huh.
I didn't need notes for this episode.
No,
to
absolutely
be fair.
not. There's enough.
You know what? I didn't have notes either for this one, but I did for when we were talking about the medication thing earlier.
Right. And I didn't know you were going to bring that up. So
no, you didn't.
No,
I sprung that on you.
You did, and I handled myself admirably. The birds.
The birds.
The birds.
All right. Well, on that note, do you guys have anything else to add?
No.
Don't watch the birds.
Do watch the birds. Watch all the scary movies,
and then go outside.
Yeah.
I looked up a website. I wanted to know. I wanted to have a list of all the horror movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There's. I think.
You told me about.
Yeah,
this.
something like 40 on a page, and there's like 99 pages.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it does include like foreign horror and stuff like that, but it is amazing how many. Just type in list of all the horror movies. You can find a ton of good horror films just on that list.
Wow.
And it starts at like 1911 and goes all the way up. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
You know, we didn't touch on the Universal monsters either. I love
no,
those
we didn't.
movies.
We didn't.
Darn, we need another hour.
Guess what? We do one of these every other week.
Okay,
Right.
can we come back next other week?
Well, we'll have to do another horror film.
We'll see how the ratings are for this one, and
we'll talk after.
All right. Yeah. So any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter, on Facebook, all that jazz. Like I said, thanks for coming on the show, Mandy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It was good. It was nice having you on there.
Yeah. Anything else, Ian?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
peace out.
What was that?
She said, peace out.
I said peace out.
She talked over you.
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a crowd around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you some cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This shit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.